And we are go.
We are a go. How y'all doing tonight? This is Chris Davis with my main man Dave Cleve. We got the key players tonight once again. This time we got the all women's edition, in honor of Women's Month. But we got a few of the women keyboard players in the GOGO community. How y'all doing, ladies?
Good.
Thank y'all for joining us on this Wednesday night. I know y'all be busy and stuff like that, but I take this time and this opportunity to talk from the keyboard perspective. Like I always tell everybody, the Congo players, they come together, the drummers, they come together. I don't know if the bass players come together, but I just feel like the keyboard players need to come together. And so that's the whole purpose for this. Shout out to my man Dave Cleve and One GOGO World. Thank you so much. But anyway, we're going to get started with some questions. I'm just going to, talk about y'all experiences and stuff like that. And I want to know from a woman's point and, the pluses and minuses of everything that we do, that you do in the whole gig scene. So first off, I'm going to go around and I want you to introduce yourself, tell the world who you are and what band or bands you play with, whatever else you want to say. We're going to start with Steph. How you doing, Steph?
Hi, I'm Steph. I started out playing keys with a band named Moet way back in the day. They were the sister band to Rock Connection. And after that, I played with Precise for a few years. And let's see, sometime after that, I played a short time with GOGO Symphony. But overall, throughout my career, I've been kind of a free agent. So I played with literally 1,000,001 bands across all the different go-go genres, and I've had a blast.
Nice.
What's up? Next, we got up Alley Cat. Alley Cat, what's up?
Yes. I started out with this band called Clicks. It was the sister band to Rare Essence. Started there. Then after that, I went to Pleasure. Love District. And now Trouble Funk. Well, Love District and Trouble Funk were at the same time a little bit. Then I left Love District. And now 100% Trouble Funk.
All right, Trouble Funk. I know that's right. Now we got, let's go to Laura. Laura. How you feeling, Laura?
I'm feeling great. So I play with Collective Measures Band. This is my first full-time band. Before this, I played with a band called Mix It Up, and I wasn't with them for very long, but it's the same lead talker, and so that's how I got into Collective Measures. I've been with them about a year now, so I'm definitely very new to the go-go scene, and I love it. So, yeah.
Okay. And last but not least, I don't even know if I should even say her name. I mean, everybody knows her. Everybody, Sweet Cherie. Sweet Cherie, what's up?
Everybody does know my name. Cut it out.
You don't know my...
Right. Little me. I'm Sweet Cherie. Hey. My first go-go encounter was with Maisha and the Hip Huggers. And that was my very first time even going to a go-go, believe it or not. But the Hip Huggers, EU, and then I played with Chuck Brown for a good 12 years until he passed. And then Belladonna. I'm now the founder, music director of Belladonna, all female. So that's where I'm at.
All right. Since we got Dave Cleve on here, Dave Cleve, you got to tell the people who your bands and who you
Don't do me like that, Chris. Dave Cleve, playing with Serious Company, formerly of the What Band. I played with a couple of various bands in the city, but I've been playing since like 95, 96, and have loved every minute of my tenure in the go-go industry. So.
Okay. So, like I said, my name is Chris. I play with Vibe Band currently, and you know, I'm just glad to be here. I want to ask you. I'm gonna start with Alley Cat. Your musical influences, like who influenced you on the keys, locally or nationally, whoever.
Well, it started with my grandmother playing. My grandmother used to play for churches all as long as I've known her until she passed. But I used to be with her every time she would play the organ. I'm sitting right next to her learning, because she was one of those gifts where if someone started singing a song, she could pick it up in the key and play it like she'd been playing it for years. But on a national level, well, let's start with the local. The local level, since I started out being around Rare Essence, BJ, Godfather, I watched them all the time. I would ask as many questions as I possibly could when Godfather was in the room or when BJ was in the room. And nationally, I'm a George Duke fan. I've met him. He showed me a couple of things. I mean, Joe Sample, Teddy Riley. I met him on the, you know, what cruise is that? Tom Joyner, one of them cruises, super, you know, that cruise. Met him and was in awe. And we just chit chatted for a little while, and Richard Smallwood.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's a lot. Herbie Hancock.
Oh wow.
But George Duke is my man.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Laura, same question.
Well, so I took classical lessons when I was in middle school. So I honestly didn't know about go-go until I was in high school. My best friend was playing Junkyard, and I just like fell in love. I was like, what is this music? I love it. And I would just listen to the same CD over and over, and I loved everything about it. And then and he was in a band called Explicit with like the same people who were in Mix It Up pretty much, and half of the people who are in CMB now. And so when I got an opportunity to play with them, I was really excited about it. So I would say my best friend James really influenced me. Our other keyboardist, Cello, was the one who taught me how to use like a real keyboard, because I was so used to piano. So I was used to, you know, the structure of classical music. So it took me a little bit to get into the swing of things. I didn't know anything about, you know, a real keyboard, how to save things into your favorite bank, how to sample. So I had to learn really fast, but my band was really great with that. So I would say my band has been my biggest influence in just watching other keyboardists. I went to a keyboard shed, and all the keyboardists there were just awesome. Of course, my husband plays for, my fiance plays for Mature Clientele, so I've watched him a lot. So yeah, so I've gotten my inspiration a little bit from here and there.
Okay. And Steph, we're going to bring it over to you.
Yeah, my experience kind of mirrors Laura's, where I was learning classical as a child and didn't really find out about go-go until high school. And that came from me performing in a talent show. And then next thing you know, everyone's asking me to play in their neighborhood bands and doing a lot of house parties. I can't remember how I got pulled into Moet, but once I played with them, you guys know Boo Williams, Tall Boo. He was really the first one that really taught me how to play basically keys and go-go and R&B and all this stuff. And you know, he's an amazing keyboard player. And then from there, you know, I've been really fortunate where a lot of my influences happen to be people that I actually eventually have either met or known or even played with. So I just have to say Cherie was a big influence for me. because I remember at one point, you know, I was just playing with local neighborhood bands. I was living in Virginia at one point and playing with Ovation and Shady Groove on some of their shows. And one of my friends came over and he brought over the 930 Club tape.
Yeah.
And so I watched it, and then when it got to Chuck, I was like, oh, wait a minute. So as a female keyboard player, I could actually really do this. And then next thing you know, like a couple months after that, I ended up meeting Cherie and, you know, doing some stuff with her. So she's been a huge influence. And I know there's probably tons of ladies that can say the same. Another huge influence for me, and this is kind of surprising when I tell folks because he's not a keyboard player, but you guys remember Callie that played guitar for Bach?
Mm-hmm.
I used to always steal his chords. He just did some amazing like shapes and chords on the guitar, and it just always caught my ear. And I was always trying to imitate what he was doing, even though he was a guitarist and, you know, he wasn't really big on theory or anything, but I just always imitated him. And I guess another big influence for me was Ivan Goff, rest in peace.
Yeah.
I did also fortunately have a short time where I did play with him. So that was a great experience as well. And, you know, he really schooled me on kind of the old school go-go sound. And I also have to give a shout out to Scooter. Scooter's great. Yeah, see everyone's so I don't even have to say it. If you know Scooter, you know what I mean. All right.
Say no more. All right. Cherie, bringing the question over to you.
Yeah, just like Allie, I was influenced by my mom. You know, she played a little bit of piano, and when I was a kid, you know, we would just play these little songs. And that was like the first time I was introduced to it, and I just wanted to, you know, do what she does. And my grandmother, she played a little bit of chords in church. She just played the black notes, you know, and you know that's how you know I got my start with that. And then I took lessons and you know classical music, all of that stuff. But as far as local musicians, like Steph said, you know, Scooter, you know, he was a major played a major impact on my playing with his voicings, his style. I never heard anybody like him at the time. People like Gary Gillespie, Daoud. I can name a whole lot of folks. PJ, you know, those guys. You know, I used to want to do what they do. They were mostly church guys, and I was coming from a jazz perspective. I didn't really play too much in church back then like I do now. But you know, I just wish I had that ground like you know they do because they play mean organs and just their chords and how they you know flow. I just love their playing. And then as far as like go-go cats, I always loved Curtis and Louis. I mean, I love Chuck. I studied Chuck, you know, ever since I was a kid. I just knew all of his songs, you know. I just love because I'm a jazz cat. And so they had, you know, Chuck had a very heavy jazz influence in his style of go-go. So I really gravitated towards that. And I'm telling you, I learned every nuance. You know how it is, you know, Chris Day, you know, when you listen to somebody, you just want to like steal all their licks, their chops and everything. You're like, ooh, so that was me. I just love Chuck. So by the time I got in Chuck's band, I already knew the songs. I just need to learn the arrangements, you know, how you gonna play it. And then as far as like artists and greats, Ramsey Lewis, um, George Duke, Herbie Hancock. I love McCoy Tyner, Oscar Peterson, um, Patrice Rushen. You know, her famous solo on "You Remind Me." You know, it's like every keyboard should know that. You know, and I've just started getting into Jay Dilla. You know, I started getting
The
into
producer?
yeah, the producer,
Oh, yeah.
his chords and things like that.
Yeah.
I just love it. It's just so warm and mellow. And I like Robert Glasper, of course.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Corey Henry, um, Bobby Sparks. You know, I love his playing. I had a chance to meet him. We were on tour and had a chance to sit with him and, you know, Fred Pena. It's a whole lot of folks. I anybody that's beastie or has and Daryl Hunt. It's so many people. I just love to listen to other cats play and try to incorporate their styles into mine, and so I can create my own.
Well, thank y'all, man. That's good. Y'all named some key players, definitely that I've listened and learned from. Scooter, you already know. So let me ask you this question, Alley Cat, because Pleasure was the first all-female go-go band?
Yes.
Okay. What was that like? I mean, back then during that time, what was that like? And I have to ask this because I mean that's history right there. You know what I'm saying? Y'all made a mark. Like, what was it like, the start of it? Like the pluses and minuses, like being a female going against, all the males in the industry. Like, how was that?
It was crazy. Well, when Pleasure first started, I'm not the original.
Okay.
I believe that would be Claudia.
Okay.
So she was first, and then I came after they left, and they called me, and because I was with Clicks, but then I left them, so I was like, I'm not playing no more. I'm not dealing with all these girls, and because I don't know if y'all know about being in girl bands, ladies. It gets a little different sometimes. So I quit them, and then I was home one day, and I was going to school. I was in college, and Roy Battle and Charlie Finn called me. And they was like, "What you doing?" I was like, "I'm studying." They was like, "You wanna audition?" And I'm like, "For what?" They was like, "For Pleasure." And I'm like, "Okay. Can you come now?" I'm like, "It's 11 o'clock." They was like, "We open." I'm like, "Okay, I'm on my way." So I got down there, and of course, Roy Battle there, and y'all know Roy Battle. He's like, "Okay, Allison, give me an A minor chord." I'm like, "Okay." And give it to me diminished. I'm like, am I getting drilled here? I'm like, "Okay." So my first day with Pleasure practice, of course, the girls was like, she with that other band, she gonna come in here, take all our stuff and take it back to the old band. And I'm like, I don't quit that other band. So I get there, and they said, "Okay, everybody get in the van." And I'm like, "Where are we going?" We getting ready to go create the Christmas song. I said, "Christmas song?" They was like, "Yeah, we're gonna do a Christmas song. Santa Claus is coming to town." On my first day, I just got here. They was like, "Yeah." I said, "Okay." So we did that, and then I started playing with the band live. We had triples every Thursday. So I'm coming from University of Maryland College Park, getting in my car, driving the triples. My mom and daddy don't know that I'm leaving campus, going to GOGO's, coming back to campus, going to class. I realized while playing, the guys get mesmerized at seeing female players. So there wasn't really an issue. I hadn't run into issues with like crowds not paying us any attention. We gave a show. And back then, that's what it was. You played and you give a show. It was like your hair needed to be done, wear these clothes, be on time. And at that time, I was spoiled because I don't know about y'all. I carried my own keyboards before Pleasure. And then when I got with Pleasure, all I had to do was show up. And I'm like, "Well, what about my keyboards?" And they was like, "We got those for you." And I said, "So all I got to do is show up?" They was like, "Yeah." So I'm like, "Oh, that's interesting." So then when I look at Trouble Funk, and I'm dragging in XS7, I'm like, like my back was hurt. Like I tell you about my back pain. Yeah. So now we done condensed down to keyboards like the MODX and stuff like that, with the backpacks that are like, the cases that are like backpacks. But the guys love girls. You know that. It is what it is. So to see us, they could have played Mary Had a Little Lamb, and they probably would have screamed. But now it's like, when I deal with some, most of the time I get good vibes from most of the guys that play and other band members. Other go-go band members, but some don't like, some give shade. And it's funny because I'm like,
When the guys who are in the other
some
band.
guys that are in go-go, I've had some that gave me shade. And I'm like, really?
Wow. Yeah.
It's like, but I know you and I respect your craft. I was like, I'm just looking at you, I'm watching like I did with you, Chris. You might not have seen me, but I was behind you for a while, trying to pick up some things. You know, watching. I've done that to you, Dave, before you knew me, and I've watched you. I've watched Cherie. I've watched all of y'all, and I'm just like, really, am I getting shaded? I was like, okay, well, I'm going by my business. But overall, guys and the community, they're real accepting with the girl bands. They think we can't do it sometimes, but we get it in too.
I'm just really surprised at why they're and I was going to pose this question kind of to all you all a little later, but why there like aren't more women playing keys? I mean, because I know a lot of women who play keys, but none of them ever want to play in the go-go bands, or I don't even really see a lot of them even in this area, in the R&B bands in this area. So I was trying to figure out like what do you guys take on that? Like, why aren't women stepping up to play in this area so much?
I don't know, because go-go's been in my blood since a sense, and my mother used to hate it. She was like, I need you to focus on your classical music, and I need you to do this, and you got this concert to do. And I played for my last show. I said, Ma, this is my last show. And she was like, what show? I said, I'm about to play for the PG Orchestra. That's it. And she was like, so what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to learn how to play go-go. She looked at me like, girl, get out my face. And I'm like, I'm serious. And I don't know if y'all remember, I'm probably about to date myself on this, but I'm a Junkyard fan. When Junkyard first came out, they was on the buses, right? Do y'all remember? Y'all might not remember. They had a Casio. Mm-hmm. It looked like a calculator. Y'all remember? It was about this big.
It was about this big. I do remember it.
About this big.
It was about this big.
It's a calculator. But it played little notes on it.
Yeah.
And I begged my mother for this thing. And she's like, what are you going to do with that? I said, I'm going to learn on this first. And I used to hang out in Landover Mall at Briggs Music. I don't know if y'all remember that.
I remember I got my first saxophone from Briggs.
Okay, I bought a Rogue Move. I'm dropping bombs in the house. I'm rattling the house. Mother was like, what are you going to do with this, though? I said, just watch. Just watch. And then all of a sudden, I got called in to be in this band, 6 band, and she found out that the band was playing at Celebrity Hall and Breezes, and then she was like, I need you out. And I'm like, it's kind of fun.
Hey, Dave.
Reed, what were you talking?
Dave, can everybody on social media see what's going on? I'm getting some messages saying they can't find us.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, we've got
my
people.
Phone is blowing up.
We got people.
Everyone's asking me, where can I see it? But I don't know. I can't.
It's on One GOGO World, and I'll share. See if I can share it out. So again, I initially shared it too. Let's see.
I got like 3 messages. Like I can't find it. So.
Here we go. Now I'm gonna share it.
Yeah.
I shared it.
Okay.
We good?
Yeah. We're everything's straight. We got people we're actually on right now.
Okay.
So, but Cherie, I think you were about to answer that question too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I wasn't going to really answer it. It's just that, that's a question that I have as well. Like, where are the females? Because, I have an all-female band, and I'm always looking for female musicians. There's a ton of guys. If I had a band full of guys, I could just call subs, all willy-nilly. But it's so difficult here in DC, in the DMV, to find female musicians that would even want to play go-go, or who even capable, or have that caliber, because like Ali is saying, you gotta have some skill, and go-go isn't as easy as people think it is.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not.
You know, it's all about feel. You got to have some skill and some knowledge, but it's about feel and the vibe as well. And so, you know, some people just don't have it. You know what I mean? They just don't have it. And I don't know. That's a tough question. I don't know. You got Ellington, you got Howard, you got Brown University. You have a lot of schools that, you know, but
Yeah, you got Sutler.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, and you got Crossland.
Please don't feed into his nonsense. But no, I remember like when I was in high school, and now that I think about it, like the majority of the women played other instruments that didn't cater to what GOGO offers. We may have had one or two who may have played the keyboards. No, I don't know any women who played the bass guitar or lead guitar, and we had a couple of percussionists in there. But outside of that, not too many of them play any instruments that can lend themselves into the GOGO genre. Outside of, like you said, when you go look at Duke Ellington, they have tons of different instrumentalists, but they don't never seem to focus on GOGO. So,
Cherie, I gotta ask this because you know you played with Chuck Brown. I mean, that's the godfather of GOGO, and so, like, can you just tell the people like what was it like working with Chuck Brown up close like that? Like, how was it?
And it was like heaven, seriously. And when I first got in the band, I was a bit nervous. You know, anybody would, you know, but I had to get over that because, you know, I'm nervous. I'm a female, young, you know, and, you know, I learned a lot from Sugar Bear and Juju. But by the time you get called for Chuck, it's like, you know, he's like the epitome. And you have to like wear it, you know, you have to like own it. And I had to think and say, well, shoot, you know, he wouldn't have called me if I was a scrub or something, if I was slumming, you know. So there has to be a reason why I'm here. So instead of me just being afraid and, you know, holding back, I just need to jump out there and just be me, you know, and just own up to it and be that, you know, keyboard player and say, yeah, I'm up here. You know, I can hang with the guys too, you know. So, but Chuck, I mean, he was such a teacher, you know. He was so cool. I mean, at rehearsals, you know, he would tell me, it's this one patch that I used to play, this organ patch, and he would say, that patch you're playing, you know, it had like a strong Leslie on it. He said, it sounds like some crickets or something. Could you just like give me another organ patch? And you could get offended when people criticize, your patches and stuff like that. But this is his group. This is what he wanted. He knew what he wanted to hear, and so it was my responsibility to, give him what he wanted. And I learned a lot from him, and I don't take that lightly at all. I appreciate the time. I wish he was here longer, and I don't know. I mean, he was just a heavy influence on the way I play and my style, and I just really wish that he was still here.
Is it true, like, he would just fire people, like, off the quickness?
Yeah. And and sometimes you got to do that. You got to just cut all the mess, and especially if you're not living to his expectations, if you're complaining too much, if he's the artist, it's his band, and when you're the artist and when you're in control, you are capable to do whatever you want. Forget about what people say. It's your band. You have to play with these people. You have to pay them, and when you're expecting a certain level or just no drama or anything, it's your house. So people have to understand that you may not be here long, and that goes with any artist, not just Chuck. If you're playing with Beyonce or anybody, if you're not bringing it, or if your time is up, then your time is up. And so I've seen situations where he would have another drummer just on the gig. He would pay another drummer just to be there, just to let you know that, hey, I have somebody right here that can fill your shoes
What?
up. Don't play with me, you know.
Ooh, that's pressure right there.
Yeah, that's gangster. You know,
Yeah,
it's like you gonna pay somebody just to show up and just sit there and just, you know, just to intimidate you or, you know, whatever.
wait till you mess up.
Exactly.
Exactly. Oh,
So you better shape up or ship out. So, you know, he fired me a couple of times. but it wasn't because I was a good student. You know, I was, you know, anything, you know, he needed from me, it was all good, but I just couldn't stay committed to him. You know, at that age, I was constantly on the road. And that was my dream at the time. I just wanted to go. I just wanted to tour. You know, that was like a big thing for me. And I think anybody that's in their 20s or their 30s, you got to experience the road life. Because if you don't, by the time you're 40 and 50, 60, 70 or whatever, you're going to want to do that. And now your body is saying, nah, I can't be doing that road life no more. You have a family, you're married, things change. So when you, what? You know, when you're in your twinkling.
oh, you said something about our bodies not experiencing anymore. Me and Allie were like, yeah, it can't happen anymore.
Yeah, so you got to get that out of your system. And he couldn't understand that because his theory was, you know, I pay you X amount of dollars, you're making this a week. Why you want to go out there? And even though I was making a lot of money on the road, but I still enjoyed, I couldn't wait to get back here on a Friday or Saturday night to play with Chuck. The energy, just the go-go experience is just totally different, you know, than playing on the road with an artist. I like it both. But yeah, he fired me twice because I just, you know, I couldn't commit. And I understand. I mean, you know, when you're a band leader, you gotta have consistency because your sound is going to change. You know, if I've been playing with him for years and years, then I'm gone. Well, now he has to, you know, addition another keyboard player. They have to know the material. They have to, you know, rehearse, and the feel may be a little different. You know, it's a lot of forces involved, and that's just a part of being an artist. You know, I go through it with Belladonna. Now I'm like, oh, now I get it. You know, I was all over the place. Now I got girls that's playing with Beyonce and Lennox. You know, but the thing is, I can't stop you from doing it. I want you to go out there, but now I got to find another guitar player. I got to find another keyboard player or another drummer. And our sound will change, especially if we have a big show. We have a big show, you know, it changes.
Do you think that issue right there slows down some of the momentum of some of the local bands because the membership changes so frequently?
That could be a factor because your package is your package. You know, every time, let's take Serious Company, for example, you know, everybody in that band, that's the package. But if Kim isn't there, it's going to be different, you know, and especially if the promoter, they want to see that person there and they're not there, it's going to change. If Scooby isn't there, it's going to change. If you're not there, Dave, and it's another keyboard player, if I came to sub for you, yeah, you can still do the gig, but it's going to change because there are things that the band is accustomed to hearing you play that I may not do, and it may be missing, and they'll be like, we'll throw them off. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
This question is for Steph. I'm gonna start from Steph and then Laura. Steph, what is your favorite keyboard that you like to play on?
Well, she's laying back there.
What is that? What is that?
What is that, a PC-88? What is that?
No, that's a Triton.
That's a Kronos.
That's a Kronos.
I mean, a Korg. That's what it is.
That's my favorite keyboard.
And why is it?
Just, you know, the breadth of variety of sound banks in the board, all of the things that you can program with the board, tons of customization. I haven't even dug into like the top layers of everything that you can do with this board, but I am planning to, you know, sit down and crack open the manual and go through it step by step. But there's a tremendous amount of capabilities with this keyboard. It's definitely one of those boards where if you're really into customizations and programs and layerings and doing different things, I mean, you you know, it's similar to some of the other, I guess, favorite boards that a lot of people had, where you can basically program just one note to do everything you need for like a certain section of a song. Like you can do that level of customization. So I'm just really excited about digging into it. I haven't had it for long, only a couple of years. I have been gigging with it a lot, so I haven't had time until recently to really sit down and dig into all the capabilities. So I'm really excited about getting to do that.
So I take it you're not the one carrying that thing out all the time, because I refuse to carry that heavy board out every single time we go out. I can't.
I was about to say, how heavy is that?
Yeah.
So it is extremely heavy.
Yeah.
And I am not.
Yeah.
So it is quite a struggle. I'm fortunate that 9 times out of 10, I do have gigs with players that don't mind helping me carry it.
Yeah.
But if it's an absolute must where I'm not sure if I'm going to get that sort of help, or I'm just not in the mood to carry something so heavy, then my go-to is always a soft synth. So I still use main stage with the controller. And I find that I have a lot of functionality with that as well, as far as being able to change sounds really quickly, doing a lot of customizations with the layers, being able to basically save all your sounds as part of a song list. And, you know, I've gotten compliments from a lot of the artists that I played with where they're like, oh, okay, you really change sounds really quickly on that thing. So between the soft synths and this, those are my go-tos.
So quick question for you, because I just asked Cherie about the changing in her band. You as you acclaimed free agent, you know what I'm saying? What do you find are the benefits of being free from one particular band, being able to move around?
Well, you know, I'm kind of on both sides of the coin on that. I came up in a time where, you know, being a free agent was looked down upon. And so I certainly understand the value of keeping a core group together and developing a sound together and keeping those players together. You know, and now that I'm kind of on the other side of things, you know, all I can say is anytime that I'm playing with any sort of group or any sort of band, I definitely try to add to the situation as much as I can, so that there's no gap there, you know, and so that, you know, for the artist or for the band or whoever I'm playing with, they don't feel a gap of like, okay, it's someone new back there. And I think that's kind of the goal with any free agent. Anytime you're in a new situation, you want to kind of fill those shoes as much as possible so that the band can keep moving without skipping a beat.
Oh, Laura, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, what's your favorite board?
So my Korg Chrome EX6 was actually my first real keyboard. The one that I played in with Mix It Up, my best friend had said, you know, just go out and get a Yamaha. They're the best keyboards. And I guess he thought that I knew what he was talking about. So I just got like this keyboard with speakers, and I showed up to practice, and he looked at me like, this is not what I had in mind. Like I was talking about something completely different. So I had to use his Triton for a while. And I really enjoyed that. But my Korg Chrome EX, it just has a special place in my heart because it's mine. I got it from Zounds, and I just remember feeling like, wow, I feel like a real musician now. But my Modi X6, which Dave, I think you were the one who
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I remember that day because I was like, say less, I'm going on Zounds right now. And I got it like the day that you suggested it. Because at the time I had the Motif, which was like extremely heavy. I'm only 4'9½". So when I had it in this gator case, the gator case was as tall as I was, and it was just impossible for me. And on top of that, I couldn't figure out anything on there. And so the Modi X is so user friendly. I mean, I can customize things. I can add layers. The sampling on there is so easy. Everything is very user friendly. And in my band, we really do switch songs like just like that. Like my lead talker, he doesn't tell us really like where he might give us the first couple of songs, but other than that, he might call, you know, something we played months ago, and we just have like a long list of songs. So I always have to be ready to play whatever he calls in the moment. So
I totally.
Hmm?
No, I said I totally understand from that. Yeah, just knowing on the fly.
Being able to just whoop and I can change the sound to like the song title that we're playing. Just the customization on there is very easy. And I mean, once I figured out how to make a favorite bank on the Chrome X, it helped, but it's not as straightforward as the Modi X. So for the first several shows with this, I had to have like this little sticky note with the sounds, and I used to like type in the numbers as he was calling it. And I know I looked probably crazy. He would be calling a song. He'd be like, "Here we go," and I'm like, "Oh, 8, 2, 3, 5, enter." Like really quickly, and sometimes it'd be dark. Just like rookie things that I was just. It just took me a few shows to figure out.
Oh man, Alley Cat, Trouble Funk. What's your favorite keyboard that you like to use?
That MODX.
Yeah.
I saw Dave too.
Yeah.
Dave has
I
a
told you,
montage. Dave has a montage. I saw your montage first.
It's over here too. But so, Yamaha owes me some money right now.
Me and Dave did a thing at Thumb Studios, and I just put my finger under his montage while he wasn't looking. I just wanted to see how heavy it was. And I'm like, okay, no,
not that one.
No, not this one. But I've changed keyboards since being in Trouble Funk a lot, just because of weight. I'm not a Korg fan, but I had this Korg Triton LE over here. I love it. That's why it's still with me. I'm a Yamaha girl, so I have my MODX and my MOXFS 6. Those two right there, they go with me. I have an XS7 back here, too heavy, couldn't. But I mean, the band members, they help me all the time. They will come to my car, get my keyboards out. I get it, but I gotta bring those home. So who gonna take them out the car for me?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was wearing out my son. They not here right now, so it's just me. So it'll be times I leave them boards in the car, but then I'd be so scared somebody gonna break into my car and then take my keyboards. And that's why I got bad back now, lifting keyboards. But back in the day, M1 T3, all day.
Wow, the M1. Oh wow.
All day. DX7.
DX7. Yeah. Oh, let me calm down. Okay, so Cherie, what's your favorite?
Man, y'all said M1. I started to get chills. I'm so glad that I got rid of my M1. You can still get them at maybe a pawn shop or eBay or something, I suppose. But yeah, that was the board back in the day, in the 01W too.
The 01W, yeah.
My 01W is right here.
Yeah, I still have mine too.
Look, I plug it up just to make sure it doesn't lose tune. The 01 FD is right here. I will not give it up. And I've had so many people ask me for it, Cherie. I can't let it go.
Hey, you already gave me that Chrome, so you know I already got your Chrome.
Yes, she's working her way down.
The Chrome, you know, that's good for rehearsals, and it's very light. So that's a really good board. But
he was on Facebook talking about my keyboard broke. And I'm looking at one in my floor. I'm like, I don't use this. Mm-hmm. Let me go ahead and give it to her.
Yeah, honestly, like what Steph had, the Chronos. I love the Chronos. It's an awesome workstation. The only thing I hate about that board, the worst thing is that if you're on a show and somebody trips over the power, that sucker won't. It takes 3 minutes. Yeah. 3 whole minutes. That's half the song. I was at a gig and I was like, I'm the only keyboard player. It was a jazz gig, and the guys, they laughing at me and stuff because I'm like, I gotta sit here and let it load. It took 3 minutes. Yeah. And I'm just like, oh my God. So, but it has a lot of pluses, like Steph was saying. One of my favorite features is it's a set list, and you can color code it where I have every artist has a different page, and you could have different sounds. You can label it. I could say, you know, it could be a flute sound that, I mean, it's very user friendly, you know, put it that way.
Sheree, you might want to try that Mo DX.
Oh yeah, no, I play that too.
Okay, because that list and all that stuff, that's what sold me. Like me and Marcus and I went out and we seen it. When I bought it, I've been getting everybody on because of that very reason. The set list, like you can different people, you can set that page up. You can have they can have multiple pages with multiple sets in it. You can color code it, all that other stuff is all built right in there, very quick.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Dave.
I play that too. I just haven't spent a lot of time with it because I have, you know, the Chronos. But my go-to, and please don't laugh, is my Triton. I love
that Triton.
Your blinged out Triton.
I love my Triton, y'all. You know why? Because I have customized it. I have created so many sounds. I even have a lot of chucks. I have coochie that I had created the harpsichord and the shots. I mean, I have a lot of songs that I've created for a lot of these go-go groups, you know, that I just love it. And even my solo synth, it's like a signature solo lead synth that I created, you know, that even the touch of it, you know, all of that, that's just my go-to, you know, and it requires a floppy. Like if I ask for it, if I'm on the road on a rider, it takes a floppy, and they're like, floppy? Like, what the fuck? I'm like, hey, I got my floppies, okay? So I'm gonna stick it in and I'm gonna play. So, and then, you know, when I'm playing, you know, with Bella, I just have my not Chronos, my Triton and the motif, yes. So at the bottom, and it's an easy setup. I already have my sounds there. I could just play and it's all good.
Hey, Sheree, what was you playing at the Shark Bar that night I came up there?
That was the Chronos.
Ooh,
I have songs that I created in there just so that I could just do a solo act and I could just play along with it. You know?
Let me tell you something. She was killing so bad.
I saw them on Facebook.
You saw me. I went live, and then I went home and I just started practicing. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question. I got two questions I want to get out there before, Dave, you can open it up for anybody that's watching that have any questions. If they watching, because I can't see them, but, you know, tell them to type in the questions. But two questions real quick. So my first one, I want you all to name your favorite 5, I'll say top 5 favorite. Like hot, my ring. So my pager going on. Those you all right. Your top 5 female singers in go-go that you enjoy. And I'm gonna start with Steph.
Pass.
She said pass.
Pass.
She said pass, like pass the blunt.
I thought you were gonna say me. It's like
Sheree.
No way.
You know, can I get like an easier column? Like that was...
No, you gotta. No, I'm joking. We can come back to you if you don't have your top.
Yeah, I mean,
singers that you like.
You know, I've never come across I've hardly ever come across a go-go band with a female lead singer that I didn't like. So, you know what I mean? So just 5.
I mean, just for the sake of time, if you want to name 20, go ahead.
I think I already used up my minute. I'll pass. Thanks.
We pass it out here. I'm going to Alley Cat next.
Miss Kim.
That's all 5? Oh, I was
Miss Kim. Wow. Miss Kim. No, Miss Kim. I enjoy listening to Pam Ward. I love Camise. Kim Scott. That Kim Scott, she is amazing. And the 5th one, Those are my 4 favorite right there.
Okay.
You know,
We're just gonna go with 4 right now.
We're gonna go with
Trouble
4.
doesn't do a lot of female singers because I don't know why we can't seem to keep them and focused.
Mhm.
So it's hard. That is hard.
Oh,
And y'all know Big Tony don't play.
Laura, what's your top 5 favorite female go-go singers?
Okay. Well, of course, I'm going to start with our singer, Angel, because I have seen her evolve. Just in the year that I've been in the band, she has gone through so much. First of all, I mean, she has battled cancer, and she has been on stage like you would never even know. And her work ethic is just really unmatched, and she has this energy and this drive, and I just love everything about what she does on stage and what she brings to the band. So she's of course my number one. Michelle Blackwell, I love her and I miss her. I did have a very brief opportunity to work with her, and I loved every second of that. And it was right before coronavirus, so that, like I said, it was very short lived because COVID just shut everything down. Tylisa from Mature Clientele, her voice. I mean, I don't think there's a song that she couldn't sing. And Justice J from Mental Attraction, and Cherie. I love your voice, Cherie, and just seeing you on stage. So there's so many times that I'll see a video clip of you, and I'm like, man, I wish I could look like half as cool as Cherie and effortless and sound as good. Like you're just the whole package. And so that's something I really aspire to be as a keyboardist. And also, your singing talent is amazing. So, yeah.
You are too kind. No. Let me, for the record, I am not a singer. You know, I can sing some hooks and, get the crowd hyped. That's what I'm good at. I like doing that, but no. And, I play behind so many beastie singers, artists and stuff. I'm like, I'm not singing a peep. I may sing a little background for you or something. I'll do that.
That's how I feel. Like I can harmonize.
I am not a singer. Singers are people like you all mentioned, Pam Ward. That's a singer. Halima Peru.
Mm-hmm.
She can go.
Yeah.
One of my favorites was Lizette from Backyard. I just love her style and her tone. In my band, we had Ashley Brown. She's an awesome, amazing singer. She's a great soprano. Never pitchy, Kim Scott, she's an all-around beast. She can rap and she can sing, and she has the stage presence just like Miss Kim. They have the stage presence, the vocal ability, know how to rock a crowd, and really engage the crowd. And one of the singers that we had years ago when Belladonna first started was a girl named Heather, but she goes by Charlie McQueen. I don't know if any of you guys know her, but she's amazing. She was one of my favorites, but she had left the band. That's all I can think of.
Okay. What about you, Dave Cleve?
As far as singers are concerned, I didn't realize it was gonna get turned on to me. I mean, I of course put Miss Kim as top tier as far as performing and singer. I mean, she does it all around. She's a great entertainer on stage. I've been on stage with Michelle Blackwell. She's in my top group of singers too. But there are a lot of I guess there are a few younger singers that are coming out that I think, you know what I'm saying, they can carry this on for the next couple of years and stuff like that. Like there's a girl who performs a 7 band, I believe now. Cella. She is Cella is her brand. She's out there doing her own things, but she's been filling in with various different bands. in the city right now, and she's been doing pretty well. The young lady who's now singing with Backyard, Tiffany, you know, of course, like when she was with the Click Band, I was kind of pushing her up and trying to get her with various different bands, and now she's in with Backyard. She's doing pretty well as but that's what I'm really focused on. I'm trying to find the younger ladies to come along and trying to be more active. The guys have had their run for a long time, but like I said, it was only one female singer here, one female singer in this band. So it's good to see like bands like Belladonna or even Pam has her band that has, I guess she has a two females in her front line. Yeah.
Polish.
Yeah, I mean,
I think Camille's got like an all-girl band too.
Camille do too, and that's what I'm looking to see. You know what I'm saying? Things spread out like that. So
I'm gonna ask this question, and then I'm gonna come back because I'm gonna be in the truck because I gotta do a rehearsal. Ain't that crazy? But my next question was the balance of being a keyboard player, gigging, and having a family. And you know, y'all are women, so it's like y'all are mothers and y'all are wives or significant others, and so y'all have a lot to balance. And I'm going to start with Cherie for this question.
First, we know you got to run. Go get in the truck. I'll take it.
I'm listening though. I'm
not going when you get in. Yeah.
Well, you know, being a female is really hard, you know, maintaining, you know, your career and the household, because as mothers, wives, we have to hold the fort down no matter what. Our babies are important. I'm not saying it's not important to you fellas who get to go on the road and get to rehearse at 10 o'clock, Chris, while we have to hold it down. But yeah, it can be a challenge, but this is what we're built to do. You know, as I always look at it as though it's a blessing, because, you know, our ancestors have proved that, you know, the woman, she is the matriarch. She holds the fort down. And back to when you see the African women carrying everything on their heads and the baby right here, you know, they walk in, you know, that's just what we're built to do. And we just got to suck it up and accept it. It is what it is. And I had to learn that. I had to learn and accept that, hey, you know, I may have to sacrifice and put my career on the side for a little bit. And the cool thing about Belladonna was that I was able to do that. I could still gig, I could still work, make some money, be on stage and do what I love to do. And I could still be at home with my kids. I couldn't really be on the road as much because I can't be gone. My kids, they were very important to me. And so, you know, guys, you have that luxury because, you know, you don't have to, you know, you're also the breadwinners too, where you can go out because you know that we're going to be home taken care of. So that's just, you know, my take on it. But, you know, I give kudos when I see women, background singers, musicians, artists, females who are on the road and they're maintaining, you know, I give them kudos to that, because it's hard. It's really hard, but you just gotta you know, put your you know, have a hard shell. You know, you just gotta, like, you know, deal with it and accept it and embrace it.
Sounds good. Allie, so you just sent yours off to college. Go let's tell us what you had to deal with.
When I was married, it was hard. And it only was hard around holiday time. You know, we would always have that Christmas gig or that New Year's Eve gig. And it was hard leaving your family to have to go do this show and you're not with your babies. Because my babies are twins. So I would do everything I could possibly do with them all the way up until gig time. It's been times gigs have fallen on their birthday parties. And luckily, Big Tony would understand and be like, do the party. We don't come on until so-and-so time. Just make sure you're there by that time. So he would work with me because he could see I'm heavily involved with my kids' lives. I don't miss a basketball game, a soccer game, a lacrosse game. I help with that homework. We got these good grades. They in college now. They on scholarship. I don't play with them. I will put all this up if I thought it would interfere with me. So it was hard, but we worked it out. And my manager, band manager, worked with me. So he understood. So it was good that he understood where I was coming from. Because if he didn't, then I would be like, you know what? I retire. I'm out. I've been in this game 32 years. I'm done.
Wow. Okay. Steph, on to you. I take it you said you had a young one you had to put down?
Yeah, I have a 10-year-old. I also have an older son. So Cherie remembers me bringing Charles to some of our rehearsals. So, you know, they both had that experience where they've seen me in a lot of rehearsals and some of the gigs and stuff. I think the thing that works for work-life balance when it comes to family is just reducing the amount of unknowns. So if, like what Ali was saying, if I know for certain that I have to be somewhere at a certain time and that, you know, the gig or the show is going to be over a certain time, and then I can, you know, definitely be home by a certain time, I can set up those clear expectations for my family so they're not looking at the viewpoint of like, oh, she's always gone. It's like, okay, she says she's going to be back at a certain time. We know she is. The difficulty came with, you know, with some of the go-go gigs, I'm being told to come to a club at a certain time, and then I'm just sitting around. Yeah, Laura, you know, we're sitting around, we're like waiting for like 2 and 3 bands to finish, and then we go on. So I just spent like 2 or 3 hours in the club when I could have been home with my family. That was a frustration for me. So I'll say that the work-life balance really works when, you know, you have more guarantees. But unfortunately, you know, with a lot of the circuits and go-go's, those guarantees aren't always there.
So to that point, just a question, is that guarantee just because you felt that you should have played earlier, but the show, because if you were the, I'm guessing you're saying you were the closing band, you didn't have to waiting for somebody else, but was your end time still the same or no, or would that have even mattered to you?
No, I just remember, you know, the last time that I was playing with a go-go band, there were back-to-back shows where I was being told to show up at a certain time, and I know how long our set is, so you figure, look, you know, set up, play, be off stage, and then back home, all within the span of 2.5 hours. But when you spend that 2.5 hours in the club, or in my case, I don't really like waiting around in the club, so I'm like in my truck, you know, when I could just be home with my family. That was kind of the irritation point. So like I said, it just depends on the situation, on the band, on the show, on the venue. You know, when you have the viewer unknowns, it really works out great. And everyone, including myself, knows exactly what to expect. But when you have a lot of unknowns, unfortunately, and that's just the nature of go-go, it's been that way for decades. You know, some of these gigs you just don't know. And that's what makes it difficult.
Okay, Laura, now you got a tough situation over there. I mean, you and your fiance both in bands right now. Well, how y'all managing?
Well, honestly, I think that is the best part of our relationship is that we're both in bands, and so it's so nice to be with someone who gets it, to not have to, you know, to not have to explain anything. Because I have been in a relationship before where it was just like he hated everything about me being in a band, and it really just it caused me, you know, it caused problems with me and mix it up. And so I took a long break, and so now being with someone who is a musician who understands practices, he's in go-go, so he understands that sometimes practices are late. He understands shows. I don't have to really say anything. He helps me with everything. He's super supportive. And right now I'm almost 30 weeks pregnant, so I only just now stopped playing because I'm going to just take a break until after she's born. And we've talked about, you know, well, what's going to happen if we both are booked on the same night. My mom and my dad, they live not too far from me. So, you know, they've been very supportive. They don't even know anything about go-go. They don't know what go-go is at all. But they're just like, hey, you're doing music. We're happy to see you playing. So they would watch my daughter some nights, like when we'd have late practices or something, or if we both had gigs. then they would watch my daughter, and she loves that I do music, and she's like my #1 fan. So so honestly, I think that the balance of home life and family life is great because we just both get it, and he is extremely supportive.
Yeah, that's good to hear. It's always
That's a blessing. I don't have to worry about,
yeah.
any drama. I mean, he helps me pack up my stuff now because I'm, getting bigger. I still go to some practices, of course, because I still want to be very hands-on with everything. But like Steph was saying about being told a certain time, like when I first started, I'm extremely punctual. So if you tell me 10 o'clock, I'm going to be there like 9:55,
Yeah.
9:45. And so if I'm being told 10 o'clock, I get there at 9:45, and the rest of the band doesn't stroll in until 12. That's happened several times. So just being new to it, it was just something to get used to. So now understanding go-go, understanding how shows work, understanding, different bands, I know what time to show up now. I'm I'm never late, but I'm not like painfully early where I'm literally like the only one there anymore. So that
I usually am the only one there. I'm the first one at the club and then probably the last one to leave to make sure everything goes all right. So I still haven't got my time right for the go-go. But so I have one question for all of you ladies, and you can answer, and we can go in the order if you like, or you can just answer it. But we all talked about this playing in go-go like it's something completely different, like which as a style of music, yes, it is, but it's still a form of music. Do you all treat it completely different than any other style you played in, and do you think you should? And well, Laura, since you're answering, we can start there.
I mean, it's like the polar opposite of classical. And I don't even have, like, even with classical, I took lessons when I was in middle school, and then I started taking voice lessons. So piano took a back seat. But my thing is, I play completely by ear. I can read music, but I've always been able to play by ear. So my teacher would pick up the fact that I'd be listening to her play and then just like mimicking everything. And so even like our lead talker was like, when I first started, he was like, she doesn't crank, but she will play exactly what she hears, and it will sound like the exact same. So it took me a long time to really just get into playing from feeling. It really has to come from in here. Lil Doc from Junkyard gave me really good advice about that. He really explained like how how it really comes from in here. So that it's just completely different. And being at the shed and seeing the bounce beat keyboard players and the gospel keyboard players and and the the crank circuit keyboard players all come together and seeing everyone's talents and just learning from everyone, that was just the best experience. So
I was kind of upset I missed that. I was supposed to be there that day too.
I hope there's another one. I mean, this was right before COVID, so I hope there's another one too, because it was a great learning experience. It's in fact, I have to go because I have to pick up my daughter from her dad.
Take care.
So it's been wonderful chatting with you ladies, and I hope that when we have another shed that I see all of you there.
Yeah, great. Take care.
Definitely.
Thank you for inviting me.
Cherie.
I mean, every genre is different, and so my approach is going to be a little different. Like if I'm playing in a go-go setting, it's going to definitely be different than if I'm playing in a jazz setting or a church setting. But my work ethic is still the same. I prepare and I practice, and I make sure that I have all grounds covered. I make sure I know my music before I come to rehearsal. I make sure that even if I'm unsure, I at least have it charted or something where I can look at it. And that goes across the board. So my work ethic doesn't change, but the feel is different. When I play go-go music, it's not as challenging as it is when I play jazz and gospel. There's sometimes, like if I'm on my way to church, I'll have to stay up late at night to learn like a tie triplet or something, those type of songs that are very heavily arranged and orchestrated, where there's some songs I could just learn on the way while I'm driving, the 4-chord type, songs.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, you know how it is. But like I said, I'm still going to give my all. And sometimes I try to incorporate different things, like even in Belladonna, I may incorporate some jazz licks or some things, just from the other genres, just to add some flavor so it doesn't sound too mundane or just too complacent. Because sometimes, I don't know about you guys, but you can get a little bored with it, with go-go sometimes. You can, I could find myself, I'm playing and I could be thinking about my grocery list or thinking about what I got to do afterwards. Sometimes it all depends on how long you playing that groove. But then there are times, like if we playing a upbeat tempo song, I may, perk up or something, and it's totally different. But I just think that, as long as, you keep that work ethic, intact, it should be smooth sailing. Like Laura was saying, be on time, that helps too. Because I know when I come in late for any kind of show, you're kind of like discombobulated. You're going to forget some things and you're just not going to be on point. So it's always good to be on time. That way you can prepare, get your sounds together. The set may change, or you be prepared for any type of spontaneity that occurs. So
Yeah. Okay. We'll get to Allie and then Steph.
I think the work ethic, like Cherie said, should never change. I'm gonna say try. I try, and I'm most of the time am on time.
Why is that such a big issue? I don't understand why it's such an issue with most of the people in the go-go, you know what I'm saying, in general. I don't understand it, but it's not just go-go, because I found out recently, because I'm doing sound engineering for churches now too. It happens consistently there as well. But
well, I'm on time for shows, because if Tony don't play, he'll dock you. I'm just saying. Don't mess with my money. I'm be on time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna open the door for you. I'm here first. But the work ethic should never change. When I play go-go, I mean, it's not really a lot of work involved with that. You just playing and you're enjoying the crowd, you're looking around, you talk to your friends, you got your girlfriends out there, you got your friends out here, all of that going on. But when I play classical, it's like I might as well put on a tuxedo, because I'm gonna give you all I can on that classical. I cannot, Tony gets mad because I keep telling him I cannot play classical standing up. I can't give you that feel. But if I'm sitting down on the weighted keys, I can give you the weighted keys.
Yeah.
Yes, I can give you what you want. But I guess it depends on the genre that you're playing.
Yeah. Okay. Steph, what's the differences for you?
Well, there's differences in both the music and the culture between go-go and the different genres that I played. And it's not always a bad thing. It's a good thing as well. There's always something unique about go-go, and like Allie said before, it's something that becomes ingrained in you once you've played. Even as the quote-unquote free agent, I'll take a break from go-go for years and then get a call and be like, okay, what time, where, how much? I'm there, just because it's go-go, and as far as similarities with other genres, I can definitely see where there's a lot of similarities, not just with work ethic, but just with, everything else that goes with putting together a show or putting together a performance. And I enjoy taking those opportunities to kind of show people that, like, you get a lot of folks that have just played go-go and they may not be aware of, what we're doing is unique, but there's also, proven best practices that kind of show the best way to go about things that we should all kind of do. So I kind of look for those opportunities too, to say, all right, yeah, this is the way you've always done it, here's another way that other folks have always done this, and maybe we should try to incorporate that into what we're doing here, if that makes sense. So
perfect sense, actually. Yeah. So, okay, I'm gonna open up to, we have a couple of questions from the Facebook live stream. Let's see, Frank Scooby Marshall is on here. Scooby, he says, who are some of the people you want to share the stage with? So we can start. Let's see whose mic is on, Ali or Cherie. One of you guys.
Tell Scooby I want to share the mic with him. I mean, share the stage with him. How about that?
Ali wants to be with Serious Company.
Serious Company. You know what? Playing with like Cherie has played for Chuck, and you know there are go-go legends out here. You have your Chuck Brown, your Tony Fisher, your Sugar Bear, your Jazz Funk. You know, those are the legends. And I can honestly say that I have played, and it has been an honor to play with each one of them. I might not have been the fill-in, but I've been on stage and played at one point in time. And I don't know if, I know Cherie has, and I don't know if you have stuff, but playing with legends like that is a little different because they know their songs, they know how they want to hear it, they know the sound, and don't mess up. Because that's
you're right about that, because
the hardest, and I love them to death, but the hardest person was Funk. He knows his music. He does. And he called, and I practiced Lock It all week.
Let's not talk about Lock It. I butchered that thing with Mickey.
And he came on stage and I was just like, oh. But he wasn't mad. I mean, I got through. But I mean, you know, I was just like, I know I butchered that. Sugar Bear, he's just a fun guy to be around anyway. You know, as long as he's being heard, I mean, and then he, you know, rest in peace, Ivan. Ivan's there too. And I believe Cherie was on stage too. I was just in awe. I mean, I still, even though I played with some of these people, it just amazes me because these are the people that I grew up on, that I was at Crystal Skate with, skating on at the parties and all of that when I was younger. And now to be on stage with them, you know, it's amazing. But I did one little thing with Backyard and I thought that was the best thing ever. Even though it was me and Big Tony up there with G, I was just amazed. I was having fun with their keyboard players. I was like, this is amazing. It was at the GOGO Awards. And I was like, wow, I want to be over here one time. And you know, but it's yeah, Scooby, yeah, over there, yeah, over.
He acknowledges. Cherie, go ahead.
Scooby, you know better than that. That's a weird question for me because Scooby knows I play with everybody.
Play with everybody. Yeah, true.
I mean, you know, Funk, you know, Benny, Sugar Bear,
Benny.
Chuck, even Bugs, because the Chuck Brown band, we would back up a lot of, you know, go-go legends and Big Tony. I mean, Big Tony, I'll never forget when I played, when Big Tony had sat in with, or was a special guest. He was featured with the Chuck Brown band when you were probably there, Scooby, too, when I had fallen off with that speaker. Yeah, he had that speaker, and you know, normally when I come up in the front, I'm always moving and dancing, and we got our steps, and it was Dave Gussum's guitar amp was right behind me, and I fell. I did a matrix. I fell, and it wasn't Greg. It was Leon. Leon got off of his trombone, and he came over to me, and he danced, picked me up.
Oh wow!
It's all on YouTube. It's crazy, and it's one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. And I'll never forget that moment. But like Ali said, you know, Funk is a perfectionist. So a lot of people may not like the way, you know, he likes to be creative and perfect things. But I had an incident with him when I first started playing with Chuck. Funk was also a featured guest with Chuck, and we had rehearsal, and Funk was like, "Let me hear you play Lock It," and I played it, and he was like, "Yeah, I knew you played it wrong," and I'm like, okay,
Yes.
show me how it's supposed to be done. So he showed me how it's supposed to be done. He wanted a certain way, and I'm cool. I respect you. I mean, it's your band, it's your song, but that was hilarious. And I have nothing but mad love and respect for Funk.
That's my big brother. I love him to death.
He likes it the way he likes it. Yeah. And it is what it is. But another fortunate thing is that for my birthday parties with Belladonna, John, our manager, he always has special guests perform at our birthday parties. And, Sugar Bear would be a featured guest, Donnell, and the biggest for me was when Genghis and Winky came up, and I fell to the floor. I was like, oh my gosh, when I heard that voice, I was like, oh my God, I just love BYB. And so I took my shoes, my heels off, and I can't even beat my feet, but I was beating it. I was looking like a fool, but it was my birthday. I'm like, Big G and Wincy is up here. So, yeah, those are moments you never want to forget.
Great.
Steph over there being a little modest. She played with
Yep, I was about to say.
Okay, we ain't gonna forget about and Lady Rhythm. That's how we met, because
look at this.
Lady Rhythm is an all-female band. We were an R&B band, but it kind of morphed into go-go towards the end. So we played a little bit of go-go. We did the Unifest. That's probably the first time we started really playing go-go. But she and I were both playing. She was holding it down with the keys. She didn't mention that part.
Lady Rhythm played everything.
Yeah.
Lady Rhythm was playing everything. So
I think I saw you both up there at Unifest with that band, because I did come and watch you all here. I believe I was there that time. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, that was my big part of my education right there, playing behind Cherie. And it also helped shape my style a lot, because, Cherie is Cherie. So if you're playing with Cherie, you got to know when, how to fill in and make sure you cover behind her to support her in a way where it looks like you at least know what you're doing, because Cherie's just a beast. So
let me share a little story about that Unifest gig, because I remember, Unifest is in Anacostia.
Okay.
All go-go, but we weren't at the time a go-go band. We were just R&B, and our first song would be Sun Goddess. We would play a dance song. And when we got there, the girls in the band were like, oh my gosh, because I think Donnell and Halima, I think that band, 911, I think they played right before us, and Halima was just doing her thing, and they were just cranking. And the girls were a little, leery about, we need to change our set, because coming after them, and I was like, let's just pump our brakes, let's just be calm. They hired us to do what we do. So I'm not going to have us look like a fool and play some go-go. We're not a go-go band. We played R&B songs. That's what we did. And maybe they hired us because they wanted to have us in between, two go-go bands, just to, change things up. But whatever the reasons are, they hired us for us to do what we do. And so my lesson is like, don't change. Don't change because the person in front of you is doing this or whatever. Be yourselves, be true to what you do. Do what you do. You can only do you best. Don't try to be like somebody else. So, and our show, it was a success. We got a lot of gigs, and, things popped off after that.
All right, great. Paul, actually, it's my cousin.
Wait, I want to answer though. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Great.
If that's okay, because I kind of forgot to shout out another one of my mentors, Roy Battle, that plays with Essence.
Oh, wow.
So I think, if I ever had an opportunity to play with him in Essence, that would be amazing.
See, they got an open spot at keyboard too. There's only Roy up there.
Dreams come true.
Don't they?
Okay.
I'll call Roy.
Roy built half of me. What I'm doing today is because of Roy Battle, and he knows it. I would call him in a heartbeat. I'm like, Roy.
I
gotta
play
play
with
for
him.
funk.
I
But
play with
I
him
gotta play
in
how I played it.
church. Yeah, I
Oh,
play
you
with
do?
him in church. Yes, because I played with the children's choir at Beulah Baptist, and
Okay.
he's one of the main. He's the music ministry leader there, and he and I've known each other in passing from when I was doing the go-go stuff, and Bear and them used to be on the same shows with Essence, so we kind of knew each other in passing. But then when I started playing in church with him, it was like I was able to just focus on what he was doing and really see, his breadth of knowledge just when it comes to like keys and gospel. And then, we've done some other stuff together too for like their New Year's celebration. Funk came through and played for that as well. So I had an opportunity to play behind him briefly. But yeah, that's kind of, and also I just want to say I grew up listening to Bach. So if I had a chance to play with Bach, that would be cool too.
Right. All right. I've got, I think, 2 more questions, and anyone answer me, and then we'll do a closeout. So Paul Cleveland, he's asking, do you all and think, or how can you attract younger girls to be go-go musicians? Do you have any thoughts on that? And that's open.
I mean, that's easy. For my band, I could just, have them come and perform with me, I'm looking at some young talent as we speak, because I feel like we need to, pass the torch. And, as we get older, let the new come in and see what they have to offer. I also am involved with a program called Teaching for Change, where we go to DC public schools and we teach go-go to middle school, high school, elementary school students. And so, just to give them some education and history and background on go-go, and that sparks their interest. And you just never know, you may inspire them to be a musician as well.
Yeah, that situation right there is key, because I mean, I'm telling everybody, I think that taking the music out of schools, and especially like the fact that you don't have every school doesn't have their own local talent shows with go-go bands performing them and stuff like it pretty much changed everything for us. So we're not seeing the turnout of musicians and artists, go-go artists, come out of the high schools or anything, or come out of the city in general like they were when we were younger. So, the last question I had is from the Dirty Kitchen. He says, how important is music theory in go-go? And for someone with a minimal amount of music theory, what is a good starting point? Anyone like to take that?
I could probably answer that because I came from all 3 worlds of being classically taught, and then learning by ear and just, playing by ear, and then finally getting into theory. And I think it's all tied together. The more that I learn about music theory, I realize that I've been doing a lot of theoretical concepts already on keys, but I just didn't give it a name. And I think it's important to know what it is that you're doing, because it also opens you up to being able to do a lot more with the music. So I think all of it's important. What do you guys think? Oh, especially I just have to say, my first time doing gigs where I had to read charts was the gigs I did with Cherie, because we would get requests for songs and Cherie would be passing charts around. So, it was definitely being thrown into the fire there and to like really get up to speed on my theory.
But most of the time when you play for, an artist, a nationally known artist, they have their music and, everything started out and they want it like it is. So if you're just a person who just learns by ear, but it may not be the same feel as they wanted, but they charted it out, you really need to learn. I would recommend everyone who's in go-go to learn theory, learn how to read, because it'll come up if you want to progress. If you want to just stay here and just stay stuck here, then okay, do your thing. But if you want to take it further, learn your craft.
I agree. I mean, you know, eventually you're going to have some theory, whether you can, nowadays you can go on YouTube, you can take online courses or whatever. You know, it's not mandatory or, you know, to know theory when you're playing go-go, but it is recommended. It just makes life easier. It helps you to know what you're doing, what you're playing. You get more respect as well when you know your theory, when you know your notes. Your fellow musicians will respect you better. So if you want to progress and you want to grow and you want to be accomplished musician in go-go or whatever genre you want to be, you always want to perfect your craft and get better so you can, you know, be a better musician.
Yeah, all three of you ladies, and even Laura, you are very accomplished musicians as far as playing style and things like that. We're seeing a lot of new, especially like you're listening to the music that's coming out now. They're not very musically intuitive or intensive. You know what I'm saying? So there's a shift that's going on from people being trained and classically in music to something that just someone just picking up instruments and just tinkering here and there. Do you ever think that we'll go back to the reverse of that and being and like songs are becoming 4-bar loops? You know what I'm saying? Things like that. Like, do you think we can actually make that shift to go back to what we used to be?
Well, I think we're there now. Because I tend to, anytime I have to cover a song that's really simple, it also leaves a lot of opportunity to add to whatever's there in a way to make it your own. And because I came up in a time where if you play a cover song, it was kind of bad etiquette for another band to play the same cover song. That's definitely changed now because everyone's playing the same covers. So I think that makes it kind of more important to take a song that's not complicated and make it your own in the same way. Not necessarily reinventing the wheel, but you know, that goes back to if you know your theory and if you have a great exposure to like different genres or different styles, you can kind of blend all of that to make a really great version of a cover song and take something that's really simple and make it your own.
Okay. Any other final thoughts? Any ladies? Well, with that being said, I thank you all for your time, and I hope to see you out again soon. We all should be gigging again soon, hopefully. So, all right, you all take care, and see you again.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you,
Thanks
Dave.
for having us.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, Chris don't care. Get him out of there. Get out
Bye,
of here, Chris.
Cherie. Bye, Steph.
Ladies.
Bye.
Hey, thank y'all, man. I love y'all. Thank y'all.
All right, y'all take care.
All right, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.